I'm going to read you something from 2006. I posted it recently to Facebook. It originally appeared on my LiveJournal page. I wrote this in 2006. I posted it to my LiveJournal under the heading Work on Progress. That actually would be a better title for this than the one I gave it in the LiveJournal post itself. Anyway, that title was Available Light. And this is the piece. I never revise stuff I've abandoned, so I simply have to say please do excuse the confusion caused when I introduce a character called the Tennessean. She's mentioned twice shortly after the start, but in such a way as to make the reader think the character named Went is the Tennessean. He's not. Here it is. Available Light. He had funny teeth. He was a handsome fellow, but the stern quality of his eyes might have been explained by the worry that his crooked lower teeth would be seen when he talked. The sternness gave him a look of concentration, however, and this worked in his favor. He was blond, bearded, and smoked a pipe. "Aha," he said as he walked. While sunset, seen from campus, was never spectacular, occasionally a pink streak could be seen between the branches of the trees or above the library. McCaffrey's "aha" was an accompaniment to his realization that it must now be after 4:30. Ordinarily, he stayed in his office between 3:45 and 4:30, but the conference with Edwin Went had been brief. Afterward, McCaffrey went outside, walked past the art building, into the student union, got a pouch of tobacco, rung up by a transplanted Tennessean whose lilting voice lifted McCaffrey out of New England, and walked outside again, where he noticed the streak of pink in the darkening sky. The sky was darkening for Edwin Went, he thought. Coincidence would have it that when he'd bought the tobacco, Edwin was just walking away from the counter with a Shasta Cola and a Twinkie. He wasn't sure Edwin had taken note of his presence. "If I was 20 years younger," said the Tennessean. "I'd still be pining for you," said McCaffrey. He wondered how anyone could feel anything for Edwin Went. "Well, bless your heart," said the Tennessean. She handed him his tobacco. McCaffrey smiled, put the pouch in the inside pocket of his jacket, nodded his head, and left. As he walked out of the student union, he saw Edwin walking toward the dormitories, drinking the Shasta the way a drunk would drain a beer. Ben Lehrman, walking toward McCaffrey, nodded at McCaffrey the way McCaffrey had nodded at the Tennessean, and said, "They've driven you outside?" "What do you mean?" said McCaffrey. Lehrman, with his right hand, gestured toward a cigarette in his left. "Oh, my pipe." McCaffrey took the unlit pipe out of his mouth and held it out. "As long as I can still smoke in my office, I'll do it." Lehrman held his cigarette aloft and said, "Lenore Reston coughs like an asthmatic whenever I walk past her desk." "No surrender, I say," said McCaffrey. He took the pouch out of his pocket, opened it, and placed a big pinch in his pipe. "I'd better practice doing this outside, I guess." Lehrman took out his lighter. After inhaling, McCaffrey tilted his head in the direction Edwin Went had gone. He was no longer in sight. "My student conference left early to indulge himself in Coke and Twinkies. It's an apathetic bunch." "This is not an apathetic kid." "Speak, McCaffrey." "This was the most fully formed writer I've ever had." "Who, Went?" "You've got him?" "Yes, but I only knew you meant him because of the Twinkies." "You have Went?" McCaffrey said. Lehrman seemed to be conjuring a word and said, "Most unprepossessing. Maybe he doesn't care about history. He doesn't pay attention. But you say he can write? Oh, he's ambitious. Him? He. Get out of town. He told me today that he was proactive enough to test out of expository in order to qualify for creative writing this semester. Creative writing isn't offered to freshmen?" "One of the ironies of Cotton Mather College," said McCaffrey. "The biggest bullshit course isn't available to those who need it most. My bullshit students drop the course after the first quiz. Mine stay through grad school," said McCaffrey. Lehrman's cigarette went out. "Damn this sea breeze," he said. He took out his lighter again and relit the cigarette. "You really prefer a pipe to a cancer stick, Bob?" "It's cancer in a more elegant package," said McCaffrey. "It makes me feel like a sea captain." "Is that why you teach here?" "It's Judy." "Where would you rather be?" "Nova Scotia." "Judy'd love that. Also, they told me this was going to be my baby." You've got the enrollment. I can shape the department. We haven't done badly. Lehrman looked at McCaffrey. They're dumb, aren't they? The students? The administration? All of them, said Lehrman. McCaffrey looked at his pipe. It's still lit. I think your fellow Went has something psychological. Didn't you say you thought he was apathetic? Well, in a profound way, which is different. He's got a complete inability to socialize. At the start of class, they're all talking. At the end, they're all talking. Went just sits and stares. That's what writers do. You don't notice it? In the writing class, he battles the attentions of the bohemians. Bohemians? On this shit-kicking campus? I've got a lot of girls in creative writing. They live to meet a boy who can say apotheosis. I can't picture him being social in any situation. He's perhaps more comfortable in a writing environment. Lehrman looked at McCaffrey kindly. How much bullshit have you absorbed? McCaffrey puffed on the pipe. He took it out, put it back in, and, holding it in his teeth, said, He showed up at my office today, sat down cheerfully, and when I said, next semester I'd like you to focus on structure, he said, Oh, I'm not taking creative writing next year. Lehrman dropped his depleted cigarette under a bush. He took out another and lit it. Nonsense, I said. I actually said nonsense. That's the most galling thing. He made me speak like Sherlock Holmes. Well, with that pipe, said Lehrman. I was sure he wanted to write, not the way one of these beret-wearing depressives wants to write. He was someone who knew he could write and wanted to. Well, maybe he's just taking a break. I said get down to the registrars and sign up for the course before it's too late. He said he wanted to focus on history. History? Yes. But he is lost in history. I said, is it me? Oh, no. Oh, yes. He brought me to that, too. I said he might prefer to take Giannini's course. He said he was not taking creative writing again. You, the Fitzgerald character who wants a well-rounded education? Well, he used that exact quote. He says he might take creative writing again senior year. Do you think he is abandoning writing? Well, I said, are you planning at least to write for the masthead? No, he said. Ambergris? Nope. Maybe he's afraid of running out of creative juices. At 19? Okay, maybe he's dropping out altogether. No, he says he's focusing on other subjects. He should drop out of the whole school if he's a real writer. What are the rest of them like? Sincere. Oh, no. You know, when I said he should at least write for the masthead, he said, a school newspaper is for candy stripers. I said, yes. Then the conversation went Freudian. He said, looking at the newspaper, you get a slap in the face. I said, yes, it is a slap in the face. I don't think he knew I meant it personally. So he is banal after all. It's finally happened. What? It's happened. What's happened? A student has blamed you for his success. McCaffrey took a silver rectangle from his pocket, slid it open to reveal a recessed circle in the middle, turned his pipe over the circle, tapped it, slid the rectangle closed, and put it back in his pocket. I should write, he said.